So imagine this. You've just landed a position with some serious responsibility. Maybe it's a board, an oversight committee, or some other critical leadership role. You're there because you're the expert. What we're going to walk through here is a playbook, really, for anyone who's a guardian of trust and integrity, whether you're on a Shariah committee or really in any position of professional oversight. It's a fair question, right? I mean, you've been picked for your knowledge, for your judgment. But the real challenge is, they're often not in the technical stuff. They're in the unseen pressures, those subtle influences, and the kind of professional dynamics that can trip up even the most well-intentioned expert. So let's break down how to handle them. First up, we've got to talk about the gap between what an organization says and what it actually does. Look, every institution is going to roll out the red carpet. They'll tell you they are 100% committed to compliance and ethical standards. And that's exactly where your job begins. This is a huge deal because if the environment doesn't actually support your independence, your expertise is pretty much useless from day one. Now, what's so interesting here is the shift in focus. They'll tell you they're perfect, but your mission, it's to verify the environment. Can you actually do your job here? Is there real, genuine freedom to ask the tough questions, to challenge the way things are? Their image is one thing. The reality of your independence? Well, that's everything. Okay, so this leads us to something a lot more subtle, what we can call the comfort trap. You'll be treated with enormous respect. There's going to be great hospitality, super polite conversations, and they'll pay close attention to what you like. And this matters because it's a trap that targets your impartiality, not with aggression, but with kindness. And honestly, that can be way more disarming. So here's the bottom line. You should absolutely accept the respect, but you can never let it become a transaction. The minute you start enjoying the perks so much that it starts to cloud your judgment, you're in real trouble. The whole reason you're in that room is for your independent opinion, and that opinion is not for sale, no matter how comfortable the chair is that they put you in. All right, let's step inside the meeting room itself. You're sitting across from these seasoned executives, right? People with decades of experience in a tough, competitive world. They know their business inside and out, and their main goal? It's simple. Get the committee's approval. And trust me, they will be very, very good at making their case. This is where you have to be proactive. 1, do your homework. I mean, really study the materials before you ever walk into that room. 2, ask questions, even the ones that seem basic. 3, if something doesn't quite add up, you have to challenge it, professionally, of course. And 4, and this one is key, you have to create your own opening. Why does this matter? Because in a room full of people pushing an agenda, your silence will always, always be taken as agreement. You have to take the opportunity to speak. And this quote, it just perfectly captures the mindset you've got to have. Just because a senior exec or even a senior committee member says something, that doesn't automatically make it a fact. It's a data point. It needs to be checked. People can be wrong, they can misremember, or they might just present information in a way that helps their cause. You've got to trust, but always verify. Okay, let's talk about one of the oldest tricks in the book, manufactured urgency. This is a classic tactic used to rush decisions and, let's be honest, to bypass the thorough review that is your fundamental job. Recognizing this is absolutely critical because it's a direct attack on your main function, due diligence. Does any of this sound familiar? These are basically the greatest hits of pressure tactics. The sudden, out-of-nowhere deadline, the dreaded in-principle approval, which is a total trap, by the way, because later almost never comes. When you hear these phrases, your internal alarm bells should be blaring. These are huge red flags, not real reasons to rush a decision. I want you to really let this one sink in. An institution's failure to plan, their failure to get something to you on time, that is their problem. It is not yours. Your liability, your responsibility is the quality of your decision. And rushing that process to give a low-quality, poorly understood approval, that failure is on you, not them. And that brings us to maybe the most critical moment of all, the moment you're asked to put your name on that dotted line. This isn't just some formality, it's a personal declaration. Let's be crystal clear about this. You cannot pass the buck. You can't say, oh, well, the others looked at it or the legal team said it was fine. No. When you sign, you are personally testifying that you have reviewed it, that you have understood it, and that you approve it. The responsibility is 100% yours, period. In fact, the source material for this has a very powerful term for this exact situation: false testimony. It's the act of claiming you've done your due diligence when, in reality, you haven't. And this is so important because your signature isn't just an approval stamp, it's your word. It is a personal testimony, and giving a false one is an ethical breach of the highest order. So, what do you do when you run into something that's genuinely complex? Something that's maybe outside your main area of expertise? You're the legal expert, not the financial modeler, for instance. Are you just supposed to trust the other experts in the room? Nope. You have the full and complete right to stop the entire process and formally request help from an independent expert. This is your tool to make sure the decision is high quality. And the key word here is formally. You don't just call up a friend. You make an official request through the proper channels. That's how you maintain confidentiality and professional integrity. All right, let's pull all of this together and really look at the foundation of your role. Being a guardian isn't just about catching mistakes. It's about embodying a set of core principles. It's about who you are. Your entire reputation is built on trust, and the absolute cornerstone of that trust is confidentiality. The information you see is privileged. And why is this rule so absolute? Because trust is the only currency you have in this profession. Once it's spent, it is nearly impossible to get back. You never, ever discuss what happens at Institution A when you're working with Institution B. That is completely non-negotiable. And this, right here, this is the ultimate takeaway. Your power doesn't come from the title on your business card. It comes from the intersection of two things: your deep knowledge, which is what gives you the freedom to think independently, and your moral fortitude, which is just a fancy way of saying the courage to act on what you know is right, even when it's really, really hard. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to think about that. Whether you're on a committee, leading a team, or just navigating your own career, where does your greatest strength really lie? It isn't just in what you know. It's in your unwavering commitment to act on that knowledge with integrity. And that is the true mark of a guardian.